Hey, good morning everyone. Today we're coming at you from Illinois at the Volo Auto Museum. This place, I'm pretty excited for it. It looks interesting, very different, and I believe it started as like a car collecting museum, and now it's got all sorts of stuff in there. From, you know, like pizza time animatronics, like Chuck E. Cheese or Showbiz Pizza stuff, to animatronic dinosaurs, antique arcade, Disney things. I like lots of stuff.
Very strange.
And you can tell it's gonna be fun. As parked out front, before you even go in, they have the bat signal. It's the bat signal. It looks like one of the 90s Batman movies bat signals. I'm excited. I go by the legend. That is my wonderful girlfriend Molly. Let's go check out the Volo Museum here. So right when you come in, something right up my alley, being a big theme park dork, they have a couple of vintage bumper view cars from Riverview Park in New Jersey. Look at how they're in like pristine condition too. Like they're so shiny. And there's more Batman stuff inside. You've got the Bat Cycle from the old Adam West TV show, including like Robin's like go-kart kind of thing. And then you have the Batmobile itself. Pretty cool. This is from the original 1989 Batman, and the rear section of the car removes to get like a point of view shots for the movie. You also have some vintage like kids antique kind of ride-along things that I believe these work. It's like a Batman Forever one. And before you get to buy your tickets, you get more stuff, like all these vintage bicycles and like moped kind of things. So one thing I was excited about, I knew they had a lot of like vintage animatronics in here, and they do their snack bar up like it's a Showbiz Pizza place. And over here you got the Little Shavers, which was built for Chuck E. Cheese Experimental Ice Cream Emporium. One of only 3 ever built, and the only one still in existence. And I love robots, so this is 100% up my alley. They're in really good shape too. They also have a second animatronic show in their dining room, and it's a pirate-themed one from an amusement park called the Enchanted Forest. Alright, so in addition to those really fun retro animatronic shows, they've got a whole bunch of wacky stuff in their snack bar area, including Pee Wee Herman's bicycle. You've got multiple gremlins hanging from the ceiling. This crazy Spider-Man bike. There's a giant Olaf over here. And then you got big displays that look like they used to be in like a Warner Brothers store. Maybe. For some reason, Turbo, the snail. And then it definitely feels like something out of an old-timey Disney store. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to look at over here in the snack bar area. Like, look at these horse bike things. Now, I am not super familiar when it comes to fancy cars, but I guess these are all Duesenbergs, which they look really, really wild. And I can't imagine how expensive they are. Just look at that detail on it. Holy cow. Wild. It's pretty neat too. This is a 1927 grand piano that kind of plays itself and still works. You got more retro animatronics here. This is an animatronic band kind of thing, and these guys actually play instruments to play songs. It's like a little raccoon band. They're singing. This guy's twirling around a violin. More robotic fun here. This is a 1947 dance organ. So you've got all these different instruments that play themselves. Really, really interesting. Over here you have what's known as the first automobile, built back in 1885. And with the museum with 33 different collections, some are going to appeal to you and some probably won't. Like, can't say I'm too interested in this collection of outboard motors in this room. The museum itself is made up of a couple different buildings, so we're now heading into Showroom 1. Kind of an interesting wall here. It shows a lot of celebrities that have been here and other people that have bought cars here, including 16-time world champion John Cena.
Has bought 2 cars.
Yeah. Now this first showroom is going to be all collector cars that are for sale.
They're so shiny.
Yes. So this is probably not more in me and Molly's interest. But interestingly enough, there is a xenomorph in here from Aliens. And here's that the big showroom with all the cars for sale. They do let you know how much everything is. So like this car here, $63,000. I don't really know cars that well, so I'm going to continue on. Not something I knew was going to be here. It is the V8 powered, the world's fastest bar stool.
Because that's what you...
Molly, what's the most logical thing to be in the back of this showroom with all these fancy cars?
Fiona?
Fiona, Shrek, and baby Shreks. And Donkey. You do have a bunch of antique arcade games back here. Love Tester, Zoltar, these Nickelodeon type things. Oh, I love this. Retro crane machines. Another retro prize game here. Really cool.
I like the kids.
Like the Covered Wagon?
Yeah. And then also, I don't know what that is.
That must have been from your doctor's office. Next section is the military museum area. So the military museum area, really well themed. I was expecting it to be like cars and tanks, but it's there are cars and tanks, but definitely a pretty cool.
What else?
Yeah. Look inside. Molly, you like this one with the back seat in the trunk.
Yes. It's a 32.
As we move on to Showroom 2, there's a whole bunch of like antique jukeboxes. This next room is cars for sale, but also TV and movie cars.
I'm intrigued that it says stop and listen and they have an ear thing.
Over here, you've got the hearse from Terminator 3, which is all shot up. Right here is one of 6 ever made, a Rooftop Pep Boys statue. I believe they were in a Treehouse of Horror episode where they came to life with Lard Lad and a couple other things. You got one of the jalopies used in the Beverly Hillbillies film. So apparently the scene in the Blues Brothers was filmed not too far away from the museum. This would be one of my favorites. I don't know what it's from besides the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm guessing some sort of like promotional car that was made for it, but it's pretty awesome.
Very.
Who are you gonna call? They've got a Ecto-1 from Ghostbusters. Now this is not a screen used car, but it is the same exact type of car that was used in that. So this is a 1959 Cadillac Miller Meteor ambulance that they then turned into a Ecto-1. We got a car from Mad Max over here. It is cool, a lot of the screens will be playing like the scene that these cars were in. Here you have a car from Gone in 60 Seconds. Now they do have plaques telling you all about it. I don't think a lot of these were screen used things, but some of them are. You've got Bumblebee from Transformers. And then up next, you've got a car from James Bond, Die Another Day, with the guns on top. And then Speed Racer. That is a really cool looking car. It's a Mach 5 prototype for the live action movie. And you got Star Wars, complete with R2 that moves. And looks like they've got Luke's speeder over here, which is pretty cool.
Need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
Definitely a different one to have in the museum. Of course, you have to have a bunch of Fast and the Furious cars, right? This was used in the film. This was one of Paul Walker's cars from Furious 7. Let's see, we got a Dodge Charger from Fast and the Furious. This one does not have a sign, so I'm assuming it's probably not the screen used one. And then Fast 5, my personal favorite of the Fast and Furious movies. Yeah, this is definitely the car from the opening scene.
Apparently, there was 12 of these built and only 3 of them survived.
Ah.
Yeah.
Over here, another very famous TV car. You got the General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard. This was the 6th one ever made.
And it had a sign.
Yeah. As we move on to Showroom 3, you got a whole bunch of like antique moped, motorcycle kind of things. Look at that. That one's adorable. Before we get to Showroom 3, it looks like boats are up next. That's a pretty snazzy looking boat. Look at that. So I didn't research this place too much, so everything's kind of a surprise. The next door is the Crime and Punishment Museum, including the Dark Ages.
Why not?
I guess before we get to the torture section, a whole bunch of antique snowmobiles. Look, some of this stuff's really neat. Like I had no idea the history of snowmobiles or any of this stuff.
One.
Really?
Yeah, when we lived in Colorado.
I could see you hating the snowmobile.
Oh, I fell over once and almost broke my dad's leg.
It looks like the Crime and Punishment Museum is a $2 upcharge. You've got to buy tokens at this machine. Molly, not a fan of Crime and Punishment. I'm going to by myself.
It's also rated PG.
That's surprising. It's I guess the death car from the Bonnie and Clyde movie. And of course, when you're here at the Volo Museum, you're not supposed to touch the cars. If you do, you might end up in this photo op prison. And you can learn about prisons in the early 1800s. You've got an electric chair set up here, and then a John Dillinger car from the Johnny Depp film. And then we're gonna enter the medieval realm. Oh man, so this is, I guess it's an actual gas chamber from 1917? That's kind of unsettling. This is the giblet, or a hanging cage, so you put on this mask, they clamp it to your face, then you would hang there. That'd be terrible. Thumb screws and hand crushers. All of these sound just awful. Look at that chair full of nails you would get trapped into. Oh my. This looks like something out of a Saw movie. One of the most famous torture devices is the Iron Maiden. And that would be a bad time. Alright, this one might be the worst one yet. You'd be trapped in a cage with a rat who would then murder you. Oh my. We made it to Showroom 3, which is TV cars, bizarre cars, and more stuff for sale. This is incredible. It doesn't have a sign. We're guessing, we watched the film. I think this is like Son of the Mask, but the car is amazing.
It's a very different car. I don't know what that is. And look at the details inside.
Yeah.
Like.
So as big fans of Walt Disney World, this one's fun for us. This was used a couple different times at Walt Disney World. Originally it had like Dalmatian spots and was Cruella de Vil's car.
Which looks like Cruella de Vil's.
Most famously used in the short-lived Barbie show that used to be in Epcot in the America Gardens Theater.
Yep.
And then this was later used for Miss Piggy around, I'm guessing, MGM Studios.
Which probably also fits very well.
Yeah, fascinating. Here you got a 1974 custom-built Cadillac that was owned by Elvis. And logically, right next to that would be a giant King Kong.
Yeah, they work together.
This is wonderful. This car was made as a tribute to Charlie Chaplin and looks like something right out of a cartoon. This is a killer car from the movie Christine. These are pretty great here. You got some cars from the Munsters, including one of 5 Dragulas ever made that was made for promotional usages. And that's pretty awesome. We've got here one of the cars from Greece. Not the car from the movie. This was used in the Glee tribute episode.
Yes.
Another one from a TV and movie fan standpoint. This was a Batmobile from the show from the 60s. This was Batmobile apparently number 14.
14! I don't know how many there were.
No, and I also love they have like other stuff like the, to get into the Batcave, you would open up that and hit the button. It's gotta be one of the newer ones in the museum, Ford versus Ferrari. And then you get, not newer, one from Miami Vice.
Yes, that's not new at all.
This one is amazing. This is a Johnny Cash guitar car. So it's a giant hot rod and built in the shape of a guitar. This one's pretty different for the museum. This was a survey buggy from the movie Alien. There's no sign on this one, but it's Indiana Jones. But unfortunately it looks like Indiana Jones 4. You got a family truckster here, done up like the vacation car. Now, not all of them in the museum are going to be screen used. The signage on some isn't very clear, but this one I just think is a family truckster. You've got a DeLorean here, complete with the Mr. Fusion, done up in full Back to the Future type stuff. I love how they have the door open and all the lights are on. This is one I'm assuming probably was not a screen used one, but a recreation. But still, it's awesome. This is Knight Rider here. It was not a screen used one, this was a promotional vehicle. Of course, with it being Knight Rider, you gotta go see if it's doing the thing in the front. And of course it is. Time to move on. There's more cars in Showroom 4. Along with Disney stuff?
Yeah, it looks like it.
These were Monsters, Inc. life-size figures built for Toys R Us. And then if I turn around...
These were displayed at movie theaters.
That's a pretty nice display to be in a movie theater.
Yeah?
Next up, from wagon trains to auto camps, it's travel and lodging. Oh, it's like the Old West. Here you got an old-timey stagecoach. You got some campers and stuff outside here, like the 1949 Spartan, the prototype and the only one ever built.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and you get to go inside. Oh, it smells like old people in here.
Mothballs? Oh, yeah. Nope, definitely. That is creepy, that doll on my bed.
Yeah, that's terrifying. This thing would haunt your dreams. All right, we're out of the camper and into a railroad car. Quite a good step up here. Yeah, it's just a old-timey railroad train car. This here is a trackless steam locomotive, so essentially a car train or train car.
Yeah.
You got me on whatever this is.
A giant tractor?
A giant tractor. And then, since you never know what's going to be around the next corner, here's the actual lifeboat from Captain Phillips. And proving once again, you don't know what's going to be around the next corner. Here's The Simpsons. Next up, RV and Camper Museum. And there's a lot of like retro ones in here. 1932. We got this one from 1928.
That looks like it should be military.
Yeah, nope. This was the 1928 Ford house car.
Nah, that didn't take off.
No, it is kind of adorable though. Let's see as we move along here. This one's fancy looking. This is the 1934 Covered Wagon. Look at that bar. See, now this would be more, this one's more my speed.
It was during the Great Depression, so you have to have money for this one.
Yeah.
Top of the line.
And we got one more. This is a 1936. Molly, you made it. Showroom 4. What is Showroom 4?
It is Britney Disney Gallery.
Ah, and you go in there, take a break, watch a movie. And yeah, this makes sense. It's the Disney Gallery. You got Herbie the Love Bug. From Herbie Fully Loaded, the one with Lindsay Lohan. So Herbie here, he lights up and it moves. You got a Jeep from Jurassic Park. There's no sign, so I don't think so it's in the film. But it's awesome because it's done up just like you would see, complete with the glass roof, the cups of water, and the floppy disk drive and everything. There's some interesting recreations here where it's supposed to be Lightning McQueen and Mater, but they definitely don't have the license for it, so they refer to him as like Thunder and All-Nighter. This Dumbo display here was from a Disney store. And then if you turn around, you've got some Rolls Royces. Molly, this was Princess Diana's car?
Yes, yes.
I mean, look at the pull-out champagne things in the bag. It's pretty fancy. And keeping it elegant, she's right across the way from the 101 Dalmatians.
That makes sense.
Yep, this was at a Disney store in Australia. More Disney store exhibits here. This is Little Mermaid, Lion King, and then it looks like we've got Beauty and the Beast. I will say I much more enjoy the retro kind of Disney stores that you would find back in the 90s with all the cutesy details, as opposed to the ones that they're designed now. Yeah. Here's Oprah's Bentley. Here you have a Cinderella carriage that's also a hot rod. And then you got more, I'm assuming more Disney store stuff. Yep, and this is Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. Here is Britney Spears' Mercedes, which according to TMZ was once known as the most dangerous car in LA.
Well, she drove this during her days that she was having her breakdowns.
So this was apparently Donald Trump's limousine. Kind of snazzy. And Trump's limousine is right next to more Disney store stuff. Peter Pan and Aladdin and Fantasia. This is when I think of like Disney stores in the 90s.
Yes.
That's one of the displays that comes right to mind. Would be like these guys here from Fantasia and then the Three Little Pigs. This here is labeled the Hagar-mobile, so I'm guessing it was originally like Hagar the Horrible, but they just throw a whole bunch of SpongeBob stuff in there because it's way more popular of a character.
Make the kids happy.
Yeah. And then look at this. This Mel's Drive-In shoe car. That's wacky looking. Here's a car that's near and dear to us as big Disney fans. It is a double-decker bus. Now this was originally used in Disneyland, and then it came to Epcot Center and would take people and pick them up and drop them off around the World Showcase Lagoon. And then in 2004, it was used in a mini parade.
I think they also used to use it as an opening, didn't they? Like the opening ceremony when the characters came down to open up the park. That's what I remember a lot about this car too.
More wacky cars here. You got the Red Baron. A car named the Outlaw. And another hot rod. If you're curious what happened to Mickey's Jammin' Jungle Parade from Disney's Animal Kingdom, well, it now lives here at the Volo Museum. Never one of my personal favorite parades at the Walt Disney World, but cool to see what happened to the floats. This is really cool to see too. This is a Batmobile from some of the newer Batman films, the Christopher Nolan trilogy. And it's interesting because normally you just see, you know, the classic styles of Batmobile. You very rarely see this one. So this is cool to see in person. And some of this is just really weird. This is a hot rod / piano. Apparently it works if you put $1 in it. I don't have $1 right now, or else I would. And then there's a car, I guess, built by the Kodak company that looks like a giant camera. So this one must be from a very older Disney parade, as I don't remember this car that kind of did wheelies as we go around at all. then one behind it now, there's not any signage on either of these, but that feels like it has to be from the Stars and Motor Cars parade that used to be at Hollywood Studios. You've got the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Greatest Show on Earth from, I guess, when they did like a circus parade, complete with the organ in the back. And just a level of absurdity. This is the Outlaw. This ain't your grandpa's tractor. Look at this thing. Some wonderful things over here. You've got a robot talking to you, and then you got Disneyland Moldamatic machines. Now these were they were built for like the '64 World's Fair, and they were in Disneyland until about 1976, and they still work. They're $10. Looks like you can make a Pinocchio who spins around like that, and Goofy. And then down at the end, of course, would be Mickey Mouse. Really cool. Shocking that these things still work if they're that old. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. Here you got a Flintstones Mobile that was actually used in the 1994 film. And there was a couple different ones built, and including ones with no floor. This one was put on a golf cart chassis so it could actually drive around. This section of the museum features all sorts of vintage kiddie rides from like the 1950s. And something like you just never look at Donald.
That is adorable.
You got more of them over here. This one you would shoot it, that's pretty cool. Elephant, a bunch of horse-themed ones. Another one of the wilder cars in the museum. This was built for the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat movie. It does run. It would cost over $1 million to build and can go at a top speed of like 43 miles an hour. They also have the costume that Mike Myers wore in the film. We've got a whole bunch of Warner Brothers stuff here. Look at Wile E. Coyote in this,
The suit?
in that suit.
He has this suit.
Yeah. There's a large section of like antique rides that you can't go on. But Molly, your favorite is Superman here?
Yeah, I don't think it would be very comfortable.
No,
But
for
where
you
do
or
you put-
Superman.
Where do you put your feet?
I
Do
don't
you
know.
wrap it around
Maybe
it?
do you fly on them? Like you hold on there?
I don't think you're supposed to fly on it.
And there's a Peppy the Clown. Oh, look at Pooh Bear. He's in a little honey pot. All right, so you got more robots here that were in like Chuck E. Cheese. I think these guys were all in like Chuck E. Cheese side room.
Yes, and it's a very hard decision. Which one do we go with?
Yes, King Cat, which is Michael Jackson, the Beagles, or the King. Now, we've seen the King before
Yes.
at that weird grocery store in Ohio. And he's moving on his own, which is terrifying. And I feel like we have to go for the four-piece,
Yes.
the Beagles, as you get 4 animatronics that'll move. And
Ladies and gentlemen, our next guy rose to fame in 1977 as the original animatronic band for Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater. And now reunited after more than 30 years, here they are, the Beagles.
I love how they give you that introduction.
My owner bought me some tags to wear around my neck, but she had to return it. Why was that? It was the wrong collar. When you get the new one, we'll have your name and address on it. Of course it will. It's got caller ID. Just another day in the life of the bagel. And how our life goes on.
This is pretty fun. Dogs singing Beatles songs and doing jokes. Got a coin-operated carousel and flying saucer, whatever these are. And we're being looked over by the Animaniacs and Alvin and the Chipmunks. Also got a lot of really vintage kind of ones over here, including 2 different Batmobiles. And then the Mystery Machine. The next room is all like vintage arcade machines. And that's pretty new. I love any version of this baseball machine. That's pretty fun. And this is a different version of the same kind of idea, except you have to hit it on different levels. pretty neat. And then you end up with like scooters and like kids push cars. Yeah. You have another exhibit here with all sorts of antique tractors.
I mean, that's the cars.
With the focusing system, farmers only had to back up to the implements.
The museum has a full carousel at one point. And you can hear some of the organs and the Wurlitzers going. A very pretty carousel. And what is making noise? It is this thing behind me. And they're all different types of organs in this room. This particular one, pretty historic. It's from the old Luna Park on Coney Island. Not the current Luna Park when you think of like the Thunderbolt and things like that. It's the one that burnt down back in the 20s or 30s. You got another very detailed organ over here. And then this I found fascinating as I guess these kind of like punch the bag arcade style games have been around for a really, really long time. Outside of the carousel is a fighter jet. So a dino you can ride for a quarter or so. Welcomes you to the next section, which is Jurassic Gardens. As you can tell from this animatronic T-Rex over here. Now this is something I believe is pretty new here at the museum. I believe it just opened really recently. And you got a kind of a Jurassic Park-esque inspired car there. But let's go and explore the Jurassic Gardens. Before you go into the Jurassic Gardens, there's some random tanks and Po from Kung Fu Panda. So we now made it inside the Jurassic Gardens area, which is a lot of animatronic dinosaurs. Now this is an add-on ticket. You can get a ticket to the Volo Museum itself, which I think like $20. You can add on the dinosaurs to make a total price of $32. If you did have kids that just wanted to see the dinosaurs, you can come on in and do that themselves. Molly's been eaten by a Tyrannosaurus. The one down here is pretty cool. That's a rather upsetting scene here. They're all eating that dinosaur.
Yeah, there's stuff there.
I like the little arms here on the Dilophosaurus. Alright, and here are some Velociraptors attacking this friendlier dinosaur. This guy's an Allosaurus. And then over there, you got the Spinosaurus, who I believe was the bad guy in Jurassic Park 3. It's kind of cool, since all these dinosaurs are kind of on top of each other. Like, every angle you look at, you can see moving robots. And this one's kind of fun, this Stegosaurus-type dinosaur. He's knocking over a tree. I will say, some of these dinosaurs have really good movement to them, and you get very, very close. Carnotaurus, not our dino. Assuming if you have smaller kids, this is an adorable photo op.
Yeah, I'm not fitting in there.
Kind of neat here. You walk through the bones of a dinosaur, and these guys look like they're Velociraptor type dinosaurs. Yeah, they are.
That's all I want, right there.
Yeah. You gotta watch out. You could definitely walk into some of the tails. I've had one hit me before, and this one is going right over my head. So just be aware of the tails. Makes it more of an adventure. I will say the Spinosaurus here is a very, very cool dinosaur.
And he has really good movement.
Yeah. The dinosaur area does have the Dino Pin Arcade where you can win prizes. And unlike the other arcades in the museum, this is a very, very modern arcade for modern audiences. Even though they have a retro, old, moving theater Jurassic Park game. So it's not all super new stuff. Over by the Jurassic Gardens area, they do have this really nice dinosaur-themed playground for kids. And for not kids, here's some antique farm equipment.
Because why not?
Last section here is the Showroom 5, Modern Muscle and Luxury. And this one is exactly what you think it's going to be. A whole bunch more modern cars. And that'll do it for our time at the Volo Museum. What an interesting place.
Very interesting.
I loved it. There was so much random stuff and wonderful, weird, old stuff that I had a blast.
I didn't know what to expect. I was like, you want to go to a car museum? That was a lot more than just a car museum.
Yeah, it was interesting. If you're curious where this is, it's about a half an hour away from Great America, Six Flags Great America, about roughly an hour outside of Chicago. And it's pretty cool. I recommend it. Do you have a favorite part?
Oh, that's hard. I did not expect to see the old parade floats of Disney. Like, that was very unique.
Yeah, I love like the old Chuck E. Cheese animatronics.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then some of the really weird cars, like that thing from Son of Mask, or the guitar car.
Yeah, the guitar car, the Johnny Cash. That was something else.
Yeah, cool place. I really enjoyed it. All right, guys, that'll do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching.